morning and welcome to this simple truth from the Word of God. So this morning's jolt comes from Psalm 11, and it goes like this. This is a Psalm of David, and he says, "In the Lord I take refuge, and how can you say to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? In the Lord I take refuge, how can you say to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain?" And I remember reading that as a young believer and thinking to myself, it's kind of like it's almost like a self-contradiction, isn't it? It's like he's saying, I take refuge in the Lord, okay, he's my refuge, okay, so this is how I live, he's my refuge, okay. And then they say, flee as a bird to your mountain. Didn't you just say that the Lord is your refuge? And basically what they're saying is just flee to the Lord, and that's what we're talking about. But this is, I think, what the enemy does with us. So there is a truth in our lives, like the Lord is my refuge. In Him I take refuge. To Him do I flee. In Him I live and walk and not just have my being, but have my thoughts and desires and all that. And that's where I want to live. So when things become uncertain, when I become scared, afraid of stuff, then it is He to whom I go to. Okay, so that's the truth. But then the enemy and the enemies of your faith take that and they want to turn it and they want to say, "Oh, He's your crutch. He's your." I always joke that that used to be my joke that so many people in the world spell church as a CRUTCH, right? Yeah, you know what I mean. That they say, oh, He is your crutch. He's because you're weak. Because what was that thing the atheists used to say? God is this fairy tale that people who are afraid of the dark make up. And of course, one of our believing brothers or sisters, I don't remember who it was, said, like atheism is the fairy tale that people who are afraid of the light make up, and they're correct about that. I think the second one is correct, because the first one that they say, okay, this is your escapism, okay, this is where you run, this is where you pretend, this is the sand into which you stick your head as an ostrich idea, and we say, and if you're a young believer, you might be shaken in your faith by this, and you might think in your heart, oh yeah, that's maybe true. Maybe this is nothing more than just an escapist idea. I'm just trying to hide from reality. That's all this is about, maybe. And am I doing that? And you might be shaken, and that's the purpose of the enemy in taking your statement. In the Lord I take refuge, and then they say. And then they say, oh, but this is just an escape, and David is saying to them, how can you say to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? See, this is the important point here. Okay, so in the Lord I take my refuge, but that doesn't mean I'm hiding from life. I'm not hiding from responsibilities. I'm not hiding from being answerable for my decisions. I'm not hiding from my enemies in a way. It's in the Lord I am, but if I have to fight my battles, I fight my battles with the Lord. I take refuge in the Lord as I live life. I am not escaping away from life. And that's something that we need to understand. And this is what David is saying. How can you say to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? What are you talking about? I am not running away from anything. Especially David. I mean, he was a king, he was a general, he was a fighter, he was a lot of things, and some of them sadly not good. But he did not run away from stuff, and this is the important point. As a believer, you do not need to run away from stuff in order to take refuge in the Lord. So that's just a little meditation for the morning, and God bless your day with that truth.